my channel. My name is Juliasurface and I'm a freshman at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. So today this is my part 2 of my housing videos. This video I'm just gonna be describing, the different housing windows and like what that means and how that applies to choosing your housing. And I'm gonna show a little glimpse of the housing website. I'm going to just give some tips and tricks based off of like what I went through last year. Obviously, like what happened last year is not going to be the exact same thing as what's going to happen this year or in upcoming years, but I still feel like it's important that I do describe my experience and just like what was available in each housing window. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is just what a housing window is. The university should be emailing students very soon, if not already, placing them in a housing window. When I was a freshman, there were a total of 8 housing windows. Housing windows were first come, first serve, and were based upon when you signed your housing contract with the university. My roommate, she signed her housing contract, I believe at the end of September or early October, not exactly sure, but we were able to get housing window number 1. I made my decision to go to UTK probably around early February, so my housing window was 4. So what a housing window really means is that's the time slot that you were allowed to choose your residence hall. So it makes sense if you have an earlier housing window, you get to choose whichever residence halls and rooms first before people who have a later window selection. So basically, you're gonna get your housing window, and since my roommate had the earliest housing window between the two of us, she is the one who chose our housing, not me. First housing window, I believe, started at like 9 a.m. and then the second housing window was sometime that afternoon, maybe around 1 p.m. And the reason the university has like housing windows is because they want to reward the students who decided to commit to the university first. And they also want to ensure that the housing website does not crash, because that happens a lot. I used a different program for housing when I came as an incoming freshman than I did when I just reapplied for my housing this year. So I believe that we're completely on a different new software. So here in a few, I'm gonna just show you how like that is done on your computer and just make sure that everyone is on the correct website, because that would really stink if you're going to the wrong website portal. Make sure that you do not click on UTK My Res like Center Web. That's the incorrect housing portal. Go to the housing portal through the university housing website because they have the correct software. So after you log in with your net ID and password, you should get a page that is explaining like everything that you need to do in order to complete a contract with the university. After you've like read through all of that, you're gonna go to manage my housing and you're going to select your room. Another really important thing is if you have a roommate, you need to make sure that you have gotten your roommate's number, which can be found when you click on your name up in the menu bar. Everyone has like a distinct number, and that's how your roommate is going to be able to find you, and that's how when either you choose housing or your roommate chooses housing, you pull them in with you or they pull you in with them. That's super important to note. Make sure you and your roommate are together in the housing software. Because my roommate had the first housing window, we were basically able to choose whatever dorm we wanted to. Obviously, Brown, was competitive because back when we were freshmen, it was a LLC dorm mostly, and then Stokely was an athlete dorm, so, those two dorms were very, competitive. But we got into Magnolia, and every other dorm was available. For window 2, I believe that everything else was also still available, obviously not as much as the first housing window because the first housing window already went through and chose their housing, but still plenty of options. I believe by housing window 3, a lot of the spaces in Magnolia and Dogwood were taken up. I'm not 100% about Orange. I feel like it was definitely starting to fill up by that time, so a lot of people were starting to choose Carrick and Reese. Typically by housing window 4, you know, that's when you start filling up Reese and Carrick and Clement. And then if you have any other remainder of a housing window, you typically are going to get Hess Hall, Massey Hall, and fill up the remainder of Clement and any other space. Now, if you don't have a roommate and you're just kind of going in random, you may have a chance to grab a room that somebody just has as a single currently. So if you have a later time window but you are going in just without anybody, just yourself, you do actually have an opportunity to get into a nicer dorm because a lot of people don't have a roommate. But if you do have a roommate, then you are kind of more limited because you have to find a room that you were able to drag not only you but your roommate as well. I just really want to preface again that honestly, this is just for 9 months, and no matter where you end up living, you're going to make it out okay. Every single dorm has so many positives to it, and like I said in my past video, there's not a perfect dorm at UT, so you just really can't go wrong. Go into this process just calm and confident and positive, and it's gonna make the experience of choosing your dorm so much better. I know that choosing your dorm and having like a certain time slot is super competitive and just really stressful, but I promise, like, if you just take the situation in a calm manner, it's gonna make your experience so much better. If you have any questions or any concerns, like, at all, do not hesitate to call housing. My roommate had to call housing and they helped her out so much. Were so kind, and that's also how we got placed in the ADA room. So the university housing is on your side. They want to help you. So seriously, if you have any issues at all, please contact them. Like I said, like the dorms that got taken up last year during the housing windows is going to be completely different this year. So a great tool that I think every incoming freshman needs to go look at is the UTK Housing Facebook page. During the housing window time periods when people are selecting their residence halls, the Facebook page will be updating everybody on what dorms are still available. They'll tell you exactly like how many rooms are available for 2 people, how many rooms are available for just 1 person, and it's so helpful because you're getting timely updates on what is still an option. Their Facebook has like tours of the different dorms, and I think their Instagram does as well. But if you do want to see a tour of Magnolia Hall or a tour of Magnolia Hall dorm room, then go ahead and check out my videos. I'll put them in the description. I put the link to my friend Laura Kate's room tour in the other video, but I'll go ahead and put it down in the description as well. She lived in South Carrick, which is also a very popular dorm for people to live in, so definitely go check that out as well. If anyone has any more questions, feel free to comment down below. I will reply as soon as possible if I know the answer to the question. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys in another video very soon. Bye!